Fourth grade English language arts. I'm Mrs. Gooch of Mark Twain Elementary. We have been reading the story, Robert's Rules, and we have been using this tool to record important new words that we found while we were reading. And on the other side, we have been writing down key details. Let's read our learning target together. Ready? Begin. I will write a summary paragraph using key details from a story. What do I mean by summary? Have you heard that word before? Here we see a book we're reading, and I'm taking key details out of that book. Remember, key details are very important details you can't leave out if you're explaining what happened in the story. If I write down only the key details, I will have a short version of the story. How do we know that we have written a good summary? Let's read the success criteria together. Ready? Begin. I can write a story summary that explains the characters, setting, and plot. While we are reading Robert's Rules, you will need your tool that we were making last time. If you do not have this tool, you will definitely need paper and something to write with. Let's turn it over and look at the back, where we made a graphic organizer to record the key details. We wrote somebody at wanted, but so then. And then we started filling it in. Last time we wrote that Robert, who was at camp, wanted to know the rules at camp, but what was the problem? He never went to camp before. So he read the rules. That's what he's doing about it so far. He's reading the rules. But he's still having a little trouble. Oh, that's right. Robert was having an argument with his friend Spotty because Robert did not want to get into the canoe. Get another partner, Spotty, said Bruin. Then he sat down next to Robert. It's hard to figure everything out the first day, isn't it? You sound like my mother, said Robert. Bruin chuckled. I bet Spotty was so anxious to get in the canoe that he forgot to tell you all about the safety rules for boating on the lake. How is Robert looking in this picture? How is he feeling? He still looks sad. Even though he's learned that there are rules and he can read the rules, he's still feeling sad at camp. What is Bruin, the counselor, doing to help Robert out? It looks like he's taking time to listen to Robert and also seems to be helping him to feel better. He's comforting him. You mean there are rules for canoeing? Asked Robert. Oh, yes, there are rules for everything at camp. You'll learn them all soon enough. Come with me. Bruin led Robert to the side of the boathouse. There was a big sign explaining all the boating rules. Robert read each rule 2 or 3 times so he would be sure to learn them all. Canoeing safety. 1. Wear a safety vest. 2. Keep your body low and in the center when getting in or out of a canoe. 3. Do not stand in the canoe. 4. Do not rock the canoe. 5. Pass an oncoming canoe on your right. 6. Do not go canoeing without a counselor. 7. Do not go out in a canoe at night. Now, let's put into practice what you just read, said Bruin. Rule number 1, Wear a safety vest, said Robert. Bruin helped Robert fasten his safety vest. Now, if the boat tips over, you will float. But I don't want the boat to tip over, said Robert. Then what do you have to do? Asked Bruin. I have to stay low in the canoe with my weight in the center, said Robert. Very good, let's try it, said Bruin. He held the canoe still as Robert carefully got in. Then Robert held onto the dock as Bruin got in. What's happening to Robert now that he's in the canoe and trying something new? Is he looking happier? Bruin showed Robert how to hold the paddle and how to make it move the canoe through the water. It was kind of fun. Robert actually smiled. As they paddled around the lake, Bruin asked Robert all sorts of questions about boating safety. Robert got every answer right. Gee, Robert, you really know a lot about boating. And are you sure you've never been canoeing? Never, said Robert proudly. When they paddled back to the dock, Spotty was waiting there for Robert. You see, I told you it was fun, said Spotty. Robert got out of the canoe properly, keeping his body low. The three of them took the canoe out of the water. Then they put it back up on the canoe rack. You two had better catch up with the others, said Bruin. It's time for swimming lessons. Swimming lessons? Asked Robert. In the lake? Sure, it's fun, said Spotty. Bruin saw Robert's terrified expression. Remember the word terrified from last time? Robert's getting scared again. What can Bruin do to help him? He bent over and whispered in Robert's ear so Spotty couldn't hear. There's a swimming safety sign on the side of the bathhouse. Read the rules before you go swimming, and you'll be okay. Bruin smiled at Robert. Go on, Ruly, have a good time, he said. Ruly? Said Robert. Great camp name, said Spotty. Really? Said Robert. No, Ruly, said Bruin, laughing. Ruly and Spotty ran off to the lake. How is Robert feeling now that he's gotten so much help from the camp counselor? You can see he is smiling here. He learned that reading rules was going to help him, but what else helped him? What did Bruin do that helped him out? Remember what finally got Robert smiling? Bruin showed Robert how to hold the paddle and how to make it move the canoe through the water. It was kind of fun. Robert actually smiled. So Bruin had to show Robert how to do things. Let's finish adding key details that we just talked about to our graphic organizer so we can use these key details to write our summary. Under So, we write how the problem got solved. One thing that solved Robert's problem, which is that he had never been to camp before and wanted to know the rules, was that he read the rules. But what else helped him out? Bruin, the counselor, did what? Bruin showed him what to do. Then what happened? What was Robert doing when he was being shown how to paddle the canoe? Robert was, how was he feeling? Happy and smiling. when he went canoeing. And then what did he do at the end? He went to go do what? He went. I'd like you to take a moment to write at the bottom. What did you think of this story? Whoops. I just wrote, I enjoyed reading about camp rules. Camp sounds fun. This is one of the reasons I chose to read the book. Okay, we have so much information on our tool. We have collected words like gazed, endless, nudge, obey, terrified, chuckled to help us understand the story better. We did some thinking about what kind of a character Robert was so that we would understand how he's acting in different situations and be able to think about why. We wrote key details on a graphic organizer to make sure we understood who the story was about, where the story happened, and what happened in the story. Then we did some thinking about what we thought of the story. All of this information can be used to write a good summary paragraph. You will need fresh paper and something to write with. Our summary will need the key details that we wrote on our graphic organizer in order to make a short version. Our summary will also need to make sure we have characters, setting, plot in order to be a complete summary. We are getting ready to write, so the first thing we do is put our name on our paper. It's important everybody know who did the writing. I am Mrs. Gooch. There's my name. You will write your own name on your paper. Robert's Rules by Anne Miranda. I like to start a summary by writing a sentence in the story. I am making my indent, writing the word in. Make sure your pencil is ready and you are writing with me. In the story, and I'm going to write capital letters for the title of the story. Robert's Rules by, who wrote it, Anne Miranda. I capitalize her name and her last name, comma. In the story Robert's Rules by Anne Miranda. Oh, how do we start? Who is the main character? Robert. Where is he? He's at camp. A boy named Robert is at summer camp. He wants to know the rules at camp. Robert wants to know the rules at camp. But what was the problem Robert was having? He never went to camp before. Let's start a new sentence with a capital letter. He had never been to camp before. So what did he do about that? He read the rules. You can put in a little more information if you really want, just not too much because we still want a very short version. I'll say he read the rules carefully. Then what happened? Bruin showed him what to do. We can say, Bruin, comma, his name is going to be capitalized, but also because I am starting a new sentence. Bruin, comma, the camp counselor, comma, showed him what to do. Then what happened? How did the story end? Robert was happy and smiling when he went canoeing. He went swimming. Let's make those into some sentences. I'm going to talk about how he felt. Robert felt happy and learned. What did he learn? How to paddle a canoe. I enjoyed reading about the camp rules. Camp sounds fun. Let's make sure the summary meets our success criteria. Does my story or my summary talk about the characters? It does. It talks about a boy named Robert. It explains that Bruin is the camp counselor. Did I talk about the setting or where the story was happening? We wrote that he is at summer camp, so we did that. What about the plot? What happened? I talked about Robert wanting to know the rules at camp. He read the rules, and Bruin showed him what to do, how he felt happy, and learned to paddle a canoe. There you have it. Just the key details, making a good summary. Remember, keep reading and find books you love every day. Welcome to 4th grade mathematics. I'm Mrs. Gooch of Mark Twain Elementary. Last time, we were comparing numbers using multiplicative comparisons. That means two numbers are related by multiplication. We were looking at what happens to the same digit when it is in two different place values. For example, in this number, the 9 in the thousands place is 1,000 times more than the 9 in the ones place. Understanding this relationship between place values helps us understand really big numbers. And I love to work with really big numbers. That's when math gets fun. So far, we've been working with numbers that go up to the thousands. Ones, tens, hundreds, thousands. I was thinking, I want to work with much bigger numbers. What's a really big number? Like a really, really big number to talk about. I thought, what can we talk about that involves a big number? And then I thought, I wonder, how much money is there in the whole world? If you had all the money that there is in the world right now, how much do you think that would be? What do you think? What's your guess? How much money is there in the whole world? According to Google, there are about $1.2 quadrillion worth of money in the entire world. Hmm, I think we're going to need more place values. Ones, tens, hundreds, and thousands isn't going to be enough. This is how many place values we would need to write this number. The thousands are way over here. They only use 4 digits to write a number in the thousand, but we will need 16 digits to write this number. Let's see the names of these different place values. We've already practiced with ones, tens, hundreds, and thousands, but then what? 10,000s, 100,000s, millions, 10 millions, 100 millions, billions, 10 billions, 100 billions, trillions, 10 trillions, 100 trillions, and finally, quadrillions. And here's the number $1.2 quadrillion, or 1 quadrillion, 200 trillion dollars. Numbers can keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger without stopping. But isn't it nice to know that no matter how big the number is that we're working with, some things stay the same? For example, we're going to put a comma every 3, starting with the right side or the smallest place value, which is ones. We go 3, put a comma, another 3, put a comma, and so on. Every 3 digits, we put a comma. These commas not only help us understand what place value we are looking at, but they help us remember how to say the number. I say 1 quadrillion, pause for a little bit, and then I say 200 trillion. There's nothing else to say because the rest of the digits are just zeros. Now that we have learned a lot about big numbers and place values, it's time to practice with some word problems. Let's read our learning target together. Ready? Begin. I will solve word problems involving an inequality. Remember how we talked about less than signs and greater than signs? When something is not the same, it's an inequality, which means not equal. Let's read the success criteria together. Ready? Begin. I can correctly write an inequality with words, numbers, and math symbols. Let's read this word problem. We will read this word problem 3 times. The first time we read a word problem, we try to understand what's happening in this word problem. Let's read it together. Ready? Begin. Sophie has, how do we say this number? 5,635 crayons in her art box. And, how do we say this one? 2,142 colored pencils. Does she have more crayons or pencils? What is happening in this word problem? What is Sophie up to? This problem is about her art box. And her art box has crayons and it has pencils in it. The second time we read a word problem, we are thinking about what is the problem asking us to figure out? What do we know and what do we not know? Let's read it together. Ready? Begin. Sophie has 5,635 crayons in her art box and 2,142 colored pencils. Does she have more crayons or pencils? What is this problem asking us to figure out? The last part of the problem has a question mark, which gives us a clue that this is the question we are being asked. It's asking, with this special word here, more. Does she have more crayons or pencils? What kind of math do you think we're being asked to do? What math have we been doing where we talked about more or less? It was comparing. We're comparing two different amounts, crayons and pencils. Which one does she have more of? If we want to know what she has more of, crayons or pencils, we're going to need the right information to solve that problem. When we read our problem the third time, we're looking for the information that we know that we will use to solve it. Let's read it one more time. Ready? Begin. Sophie has 5,635 crayons in her art box and 2,142 colored pencils. Does she have more crayons or pencils? What two pieces of information do we have? What does this number represent? This 5,635. That's the number of crayons. What about this other number? 2,142 what? Pencils. So now we have our two different numbers and we know we're comparing them. Now we're going to use the strategy that we learned before. Now that we have read this carefully 3 times, it's time to solve it. Make sure you have something to write with and some paper. The last time we were comparing numbers, we wrote one number on this side. Let's write this one together. 5,635. And let's write the other number over here. Write it with me. 2,142. Now, what symbol are we going to use to show which one is bigger and which one is smaller? What's the first thing we look at? We compare the place values. We have to be comparing the same place value. Do we start with the little place value? Oh, we start with the big place value. What is the value of this 5? 5,000. And the value of this 2 is 2,000. 2,000. What is bigger, 5,000 or 2,000? It's the 5,000 that's going to be the bigger one. 5,635 is greater than 2,142. What symbol do I write? If this side is greater than, the open side, the big open side should be on this side. So it should look this way. 5,635 is greater than 2,142. But what is the question asking? Does she being Sophie, have more crayons or pencils? This is what she had more of. What did that number represent? 5,635 crayons. So she has more crayons. We need to write a sentence answering the question. Sophie has more crayons. We have answered the question with a sentence, and we have shown our answer with mathematical symbols and numbers. Let's work with some even bigger numbers. Mount Rainier and Mount Baker are two important mountains in Washington State. Let's read this word problem about them together. Remember, the first time we read it, we are trying to understand what the problem is about. What's happening? Ready? Begin. Mount Rainier is 14,411 feet tall. Mount Baker is 10,781 feet tall. Which one is highest? What is this problem about? Right, it's about two mountains, Mount Rainier and Mount Baker. Now we're going to read it to determine what is it asking us to figure out. Let's read it one more time. Ready, begin. Mount Rainier is 14,411 feet tall. Mount Baker is 10,781 feet tall. Which one is highest? What is the question being asked? It's asking which mountain is higher up, Mount Rainier or Mount Baker. What kind of math are we doing if we are showing which one is highest or bigger or greater? That's right, we're going to be comparing. So let's read it one more time to make sure we understand what numbers we are comparing. Ready? Begin. Mount Rainier is 14,411 feet tall. Mount Baker is 10,781 feet tall. Which one is highest? What are the two numbers that we're comparing here? This number here, 14,411, what is that representing? Right, it's representing Mount Rainier. What about this number here, 10,781? Right, that's Mount Baker. So those are the two numbers we are comparing. Let's write them down below. Get ready to write with me. The first number is 14,000, there goes that comma, 411. And the other number is, we'll write it over here, 10,000, there's a comma, 781. This spot in the middle is where we will put our inequality symbol once we determine which number is biggest. Remember, we start with the biggest place value. Both of these numbers have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 digits. So they are both have the biggest place value is 10,000. There's 1 10,000 in this number and 1 10,000 in this number. So for the biggest place values, these two numbers have the same digit. So we need to move down to the next smallest place value, the thousands. On this side, this number has how many thousands? 4 thousands. And on this side, no thousands at all. So if we cover up the 10,000s place, we can see over here is 4,411 and over here is only 781. So this number, 14,411, is much bigger than this number over here. Let's draw our symbol. Again, the big open side is towards the bigger number and the little point is towards the little number. Which mountain had this number as their height? Right, Mount Rainier. So which mountain is taller? Mount Rainier is taller. It is the highest. Let's use this question to write our answer. We restate the question when we answer a question. Mount Rainier is the highest. We always answer a word problem with a sentence, and we always start a sentence with a capital letter and put a period at the end of it. Did we meet our learning target? Did we solve word problems involving an inequality? Did we correctly write an inequality with words in a sentence, numbers, and also these math symbols? If you can take two big numbers and tell me which one is little, which one is big, which one is greater, which one is less, and use those symbols to tell me, you are meeting our learning target. Next time, we will use what we know about place value to find out how the distributive property can help us with multiplication. Until next time, find the math in everyday life.
Hola y bienvenidos a Matemáticas de cuarto grado en español. Yo soy su maestra, señora Saldana. Empezaremos la lección de hoy. Antes de empezar, necesitamos algunos materiales. Los materiales que vamos a necesitar hoy son un lápiz, como este, y un papel. Puede ser un papel chiquito, como este, o puede ser un papel grande, como este. Toma un momento para encontrar un papel y un lápiz. Si tienes las notas de la lección anterior, puedes usar esas notas también si tiene espacio. Si no, encuentra otro papel nuevo. Puedes decir listo cuando estás listo. ¿Estás listo? Pueden decir listos en voz alta. Perfecto, seguimos. Vamos a alistar nuestro papel para tomar notas. Primero, sigue estos pasos conmigo para listar nuestro papel para escribir las notas de hoy. Paso número 1. Dibuja una línea vertical en el medio de tu papel. Eso quiere decir desde arriba hasta abajo. Paso número 2. Dibuja una línea horizontal en tu papel. Eso quiere decir de un lado a otro. Paso número 3. Numera cada caja 1 a 4. Paso número 4. Escribe tu nombre y la fecha de hoy en caja número 1. No importa el orden de los números, pero si quieres, mira este ejemplo para darte idea de cómo se puede mirar. Este es un ejemplo de mi papel. Tiene mi línea vertical, mi línea horizontal, los números 1 a 4 en cada caja y espacio para mi nombre y la fecha de hoy. ¿Su papel se mira como el mío? ¿Están listos para seguir? ¿Pueden decir listos en voz alta? ¿Escuchó listos? Perfecto, seguimos. El tema que vamos a cubrir hoy es multiplicación, específicamente multiplicando números de 2 dígitos con números de 2 dígitos. Por ejemplo, multiplicando 55 por 14. ¿Qué es la respuesta a este problema? No sé, pero vamos a averiguarlo en la lección de hoy. Tenemos vocabulario académico. Acuérdense que vocabulario académico son palabras que usamos no normalmente cada día, pero en lugares específicos, como clases de matemáticas o en la escuela. El vocabulario académico de hoy es multiplicación y producto. Acuérdense de la lección anterior. Hicimos una representación física con nuestros cuerpos de la palabra multiplicación. ¿Se acuerdan de qué fue? Usamos nuestros dedos para hacer el símbolo de multiplicación. Háganlo conmigo. Es un X, así. Cuando digo multiplicación, muestran el X cuando digo multiplicación, en cada sílaba. Practíquenlo conmigo. 1, 2, 3. Multiplicación. Otra vez. Multiplicación. Buen trabajo. La otra palabra fue producto. El producto es la respuesta de un problema de matemáticas. Puede ser sumar, restar, multiplicación o división. Vamos a repasar la meta de hoy. La meta de aprendizaje de hoy es, léelo conmigo. Practicaré la multiplicación de números de 2 dígitos con números de 2 dígitos, usando lo que sé sobre el valor posicional y modelos útiles. Acuérdense que la meta de aprendizaje es lo que quieres lograr aprender después de la lección de hoy. Vamos a tomar un poquito de tiempo para reflexionar al final de la lección de hoy. Para chequear, ¿lograste esta meta? ¿Qué podemos hacer la próxima vez? ¿Están listos para seguir? Pueden decir sí, listos. 1, 2, 3. ¡Listos! Perfecto, seguimos. Vamos a repasar los temas de la lección anterior. La lección anterior hablamos sobre el tema de usar diferentes estrategias para ayudarnos a hallar las respuestas a problemas de multiplicación de 3 a 4 dígitos con números de un dígito. Las estrategias que hemos usado son las siguientes: productos parciales, modelos de área y bloques de base de 10. Hoy vamos a enfocarnos en las estrategias de productos parciales y modelos de área. Bloques de base de 10 va a ser opcional. Seguimos con productos parciales. ¿Están listos? Pueden decir listos con un bailecito. Seguimos. Ahora vamos a cubrir productos parciales con números de 2 dígitos. En su caja número 1 pueden escribir el título, productos parciales, y pueden copiar esta pregunta conmigo y pueden seguir. 28 multiplicado por 16. Acuérdense que con esta estrategia multiplicamos cada dígito de los dos números considerando el valor posicional de cada dígito. Repasaremos cómo hallar la respuesta a 28 multiplicado por 16. Mira aquí en mi pantalla. Toma un momento para chequear y pensar. ¿Cómo se mira diferente y cómo se mira igual que la lección anterior? ¿Qué es diferente? ¿Qué es igual? Buen trabajo. Primero empezamos con 28 encima de 16 en la forma escrito estándar. Primero empezamos con 6 multiplicado por 8. Estamos enfocándonos en las unidades de los dos números. So multiplico 6 por 8 y me da 48. Lo escribo debajo de la línea. Luego me muevo al 2. 6 multiplicado por 2, o como está escrito aquí, 6 unidades multiplicado por 2 decenas. Yo sé que decenas aquí quiere decir lo mismo que 20. Y 6 multiplicado por 2 es 12, más un 0 es 120. Lo escribo debajo de 48. Luego puedo moverme al próximo dígito aquí. 1 multiplicado por 8. Lo escribo aquí abajo. Una decena multiplicado por 8 unidades. Yo sé que esta es decena porque está a la izquierda de mi 6, como en la posición de valor de decena. Lo escribo debajo de 120, mi respuesta de 80. Luego me muevo al 2. Esto también está en la posición de decenas. So, 1 multiplicado por 2 decenas. Los dos muestran decenas. Eso me quiere dejar saber que es 200. Yo sé que es 200 porque aquí dice decena. Después del 2 dice otra decena. No están mostrando los ceros, pero yo sé que están ahí. Luego voy a sumar todos mis números de aquí abajo. Y eso me da mi total. Acuérdense que las unidades son importantes aquí. Acuérdense que tienen que hacer fila con los números. Una fila aquí, otra fila aquí, yendo hacia abajo. Y sumar todos los dígitos, pensando en su valor posicional. ¿Qué sería la respuesta al final? ¿Pueden tomar un momento para sumar la respuesta? Lo hago con ustedes. Bajo el 8. 8 más 0 más 0 más 0 es 8. 4 más 2 es 6. Más 8, 8. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Bajo un 4. Y tengo que subir un 1. Ahora tengo 1 más 1. Es 2. Más 2, 4. ¿Mi respuesta? 448. ¿Es tu respuesta también? Perfecto, seguimos. Pueden tomar notas sobre esta página, si no han tomado sus notas hasta ahorita. ¿Están listos? Seguimos. Seguimos con modelo de área. Recuérdense que estamos usando la idea de la forma expandida y aquí que podemos multiplicar los números grandes usando modelos de área, como este ejemplo de aquí abajo. Toma otro momento para pensar, ¿cómo se mira diferente? ¿Tiene algo en igual que la última lección? Piensa cómo es diferente multiplicar números con 3 y 4 dígitos con un dígito y multiplicar números de 2 dígitos con números de 2 dígitos. Pueden escribir sus respuestas en la caja número 2 de sus notas. También pueden copiar este ejemplo en sus notas para tenerlo para más tarde. ¿Están listos? Repasamos este ejemplo. Aquí tengo la pregunta. ¿Qué es 17 multiplicado por 38? Estoy usando mi modelo de área para representar y para romper los números, para mostrar los diferentes valores posicionales que cada dígito tiene. Aquí tengo 10 más 7 para representar 17. Aquí arriba tengo 30 más 8 para representar 38. Adentro de los rectángulos más pequeños, tengo la respuesta a los dos multiplicado. Una decena multiplicado por 3 decenas. O lo puedes mostrar 10 multiplicado por 30. El producto, 3 centenas o 300. Hago lo mismo aquí con 8 multiplicado por 10. También aquí con 7 y 30. Y 7 y 8. Luego abajo de mi rectángulo grande, puedo sumar todos los productos para llegar a mi respuesta. 17 multiplicado por 38 me da 646. Recuérdense que puedo escribir el número más grande encima de mis cuadros o mi rectángulo grande y el número que voy a usar para multiplicar a la izquierda. Toma un momento para terminar sus notas. Pueden decir listos cuando están listos. ¿Escuchó listos? Seguimos. Aplícalo. ¿Cuál es el producto de 12 multiplicado por 55? ¿Puedes mostrar tu trabajo? Las opciones para mostrar tu trabajo son las estrategias que estamos cubriendo, o productos parciales o modelo de área. Aquí les voy a mostrar cómo usar productos parciales para hallar la respuesta a este problema de multiplicación. Sigan conmigo. Pueden usar caja número 3 para copiar este ejemplo y para seguir conmigo. ¿Están listos? Perfecto, seguimos. Empecé con escribir 55 encima de 12 en la forma estándar de multiplicación. Abajo empecé con las unidades. 5 multiplicado por 2. Eso me da 10. Entonces escribo 10 debajo de mi línea. Al lado mostré que 5 multiplicado por 2 unidades me da 10. Luego voy a mover a todavía usar 2, pero multiplicar 2 con el 5 de la izquierda de encima. Eso me da 5 multiplicado por 2 otra vez. Pero como sé que estoy usando el 5 en el valor posicional de decenas, tengo que agregar un 0 a mi respuesta. Eso me da 100. Entonces lo escribo debajo del 10. Ahora puedo mover al próximo dígito de abajo y multiplicar 1 por 5. Sé que todavía estoy usando unidades y decenas. Entonces 1 multiplicado por 5 es 5. Pero como sé que estoy en la posición de decenas abajo, entonces agrego 0. Y lo escribo debajo de 100. Luego termino con 1 multiplicado por 5. Sé que estos dos números están en la posición de decenas. So, multiplico 1 por 5. Pero como sé que son en las posiciones de decenas, tengo que agregar ceros, 2 ceros. Y escribo mi respuesta, 500. Ahora tengo que sumar todos mis números de aquí abajo. ¿Pueden encontrar la respuesta? Toma un momento para sumar los productos y encontrar el producto final de la pregunta, ¿qué es 12 multiplicado por 55? 1, 2, ¿pueden decirlo? 3. Buen trabajo. ¿Encontraron la respuesta? 650. Perdón, 660. Buen trabajo. Sí, buen trabajo. Puedo sumar eso bajando los números aquí. 0. 1 más 5 es 6, no 5. No sé qué estaba pensando. Y 1 más 5, que es 6 también. Entonces, hallamos la respuesta de 660 aquí. Tome un momento para terminar sus notas de esta página y nos movemos a pregunta número 2. ¿Están listos? Perfecto, seguimos. ¿Cuál es el producto de 15 multiplicado por 24? Estoy mostrando mi trabajo aquí usando estrategia número 2, modelo de área. Aquí dibujo mi rectángulo grande y estoy usando la forma expandida de 20 más 4 y 10 más 5 y escribiendo el producto aquí adentro de cada rectángulo. Al final, tengo que sumar los productos en cada caja. ¿Qué es el producto? Mira este modelo de área. ¿Puedes encontrar el producto a esta pregunta de multiplicación? Toma 3 segundos para sumar la respuesta y dígalo en voz alta. 3, 2, 1. ¿Fue 360? Es lo que yo tenía también. Perfecto. Buen trabajo. Toma un momento para tomar notas en cuadro número 4 en tus notas. ¿Listo? Perfecto. Toma un momento para escribir estas preguntas en tu papel para practicar más tarde. Número 1. 34 multiplicado por 67. 2. 22 multiplicado por 96. 3. 19 multiplicado por 40. Intente usar las diferentes estrategias para hallar las respuestas a estos problemas. Ok, guys, ya llegamos al final. Toma un momento para reflexionar sobre el aprendizaje de hoy. ¿Sientes que lograste cumplir la meta de aprendizaje de hoy? Lee la meta de aprendizaje conmigo otra vez. Practicaré la multiplicación de dos números de 2 dígitos con números de 2 dígitos, usando lo que sé sobre los valores posicionales y modelos útiles. Tu tarea es practicar. Practica con las preguntas de práctica más tarde. Buen trabajo, guys. Les veo otra vez. Bye.